Pleasant morning, everyone. I am Hazel Ann C. Mascardo,
And I am Jelisa M. Masaglang.
your reporters for today. In today's lesson, we will going to discuss the continuation of the child development theories, which are the sociocultural theory of Vygotsky and the social learning theory of Bandura. Objectives. At the end of the lesson, the student will be able to identify the sociocultural theory of Vygotsky and the social learning theory of Bandura, and value the importance of knowing the sociocultural theory and social learning theory. Sociocultural theory of Vygotsky. Before we're going to discuss the sociocultural theory, let us acknowledge first who is the founder of it. Vygotsky is the founder of sociocultural theory. He was a seminal Russian psychologist who is best known for his sociocultural theory. He was born on November 17, 1896 in Orsha, a city in the western region of the Russian Empire. He attended Moscow State University, where he graduated with a degree in law in 1977. Vygotsky studied a range of topics including of psychology, sociology, linguistics, and philosophy. He completed a dissertation in 1925 on the psychology of art but was awarded his degree in absentia due to acute tuberculosis relapse. Following his illness, Vygotsky began researching topics such as language, attention, and memory with the help of students including Alexei Leontiev and Alexander Luria. So what is sociocultural theory? When we say socio, it talks about relating in society, and cultural means relating the ideas, customs, and social behaviors in society. This theory believes that children learn actively through hands-on experiences. So what is this hands-on experiences? It is the experience or work involves actually doing a particular thing rather than just talking about it or getting someone else to do it. Vygotsky also highlights the importance of the other people such as parents, caregivers, and peers in the development of children. Remember, sociocultural theory focuses not only how adults and peers influence individual learning, but also on how cultural beliefs and attitudes affect how learning takes place. For instance, here in Philippines, parents teach their child to say po and opo, please, you're welcome, doing a mano, have a faith, resilient, courage, generosity, and such Philippine cultural practices. By these good beliefs, attitudes, and practices, surely the child will easily interact in society and receives an optimism feedback. Also included in the theory is the zone of proximal development, which is the portion in between what one can do on his or her own and with help. To further understand this kind of development, let us watch this video clip.
The Zone of Proximal Development, or ZPD. ZPD is the distance between what the learner already knows independently and his potential for development with the help of someone else. Represented in blue is what the student already knows and can do by himself. Represented in orange is what the student can potentially do with the help of someone like a teacher. That's the ZPD. After teaching, the student's knowledge will expand to include what used to be the ZPD, and he now can do all of those tasks without the help of a teacher. This is Charlie, and represented by his ladder is what Charlie already has, his existing knowledge. And what he's trying to do is climb the wall. As we can see, Charlie's ladder is not tall enough to reach his ultimate goal. Charlie's teacher steps in to help him find a way to reach his goal. With the help of his teacher, Charlie is given a new task that is more achievable based on his existing knowledge and her help. This continues until Charlie finally reaches his ultimate goal and no longer needs anyone's help. And that is the zone of proximal development.
So it is clearly stated that the zone of proximal development is the portion in between what one can do on his or her own and with the help. As the video stated that the boy has an existing knowledge to climb the wall, but his ladder is not tall enough. And here comes the teacher who helped him and give a task to climb the wall until he did it. To make it brief, it is all about between your existing knowledge and with the help of others. Another example of this is the student has an existing knowledge on how to solve the math problems, but in the time of his solving, he got confused on it. And here comes the teacher who teach him the proper formula to use in solving of a problem. By this, the student now is capable to solve the problems on the next number item without the presence of the teacher. Vygotsky also stated that children best learn when they are in this zone. Before I will going to end my lesson, I want you to remember the following key terms. Lev Vygotsky is the founder of Sociocultural theory in child development. Sociocultural theory believes that children learn actively through hands-on experiences. Zone of proximal development is the portion in between what one can do on his or her own and with the help. So that's all my topic, and now Ms. Masaglang will going to discuss the social learning theory of Albert Bandura.
Good morning, everyone. My topic this morning is all about social learning theory by Albert Bandura. In my topic, we are going to discuss who is Albert Bandura and what is social learning theory. Who is Albert Bandura? Albert Bandura was an American African psychologist who was the David Starr Jordan Professor Emeritus of Social Science and Psychology at Stanford University. Pag sinabi nating psychologist is someone who studied the mind and the behavior, study cognitive, emotional, social process, by observing, interpreting, and recording how individuals related to another or to one another and to their environment. Albert Bandura is an influential person in social cognitive psychology who is perhaps the best known for his social learning theory, concept of self-efficacy, and his famous Bobo-doll experiment. And what is Bobo-doll experiment? Bobo-doll experiment demonstrate that children are able to learn social behavior such as aggression through the process of observing learning through watching the behavior of another person. Bobo-doll experiment is the collective name for a series of experiments by performing psychologist Albert Bandura to test his social learning theory. Between 1961 and 1963, he studied the behavior of the children after they watched an adult model act aggressively toward the boo-boo doll. Our second topic this morning is social learning theory. Social learning theory emphasizes the importance of observing, modeling, and imitating the behavior, attitude, and emotional reactions of others. Social learning theory considered how both environment and cognitive factors interact that influence human learning and behavior. Social learning theory examples in everyday life are common, with all the most evident being the behavior of the children. The example are as they imitate family members, friends, famous figure, and even television character. If a children perceive there is a meaningful reward for such behavior, they will perform it at some point. In social learning theory, they have 5 principles. The first principle, attention. Second, retention. Third, reproduction. Fourth, motivation. And the last one is observation. These 5 principles are called 5K state of learning process. The main idea of social learning theory is to process that individuals learn by observing the behavior of others, or tinatawag nila itong models.
Social learning theory.
Social learning theory was developed by Albert Bandura in 1977. It emphasizes the role of modeling, otherwise known as imitation or observational learning, in the development of behavior. Bandura found that there are many factors that influence children's willingness to imitate, such as their own histories of punishment and reinforcement. In his later work, Bandura began to focus on the child's cognition. He shows that their ability to listen, remember, and to abstract general rules from observed behaviors affect their learning. He emphasizes how children think about themselves and other people. This is called the social cognitive approach. This explains that children become more selective in what they imitate. The child begins to develop personal standards for what behaviors they want to imitate. They also begin to develop self-efficacy. Their personal standards and self-efficacy help guide their response to the situations they are in. This then allows children to start forming their own attitudes, values, and convictions about themselves, allowing them to better control their behavior. The main benefit of social learning theory is that it emphasizes behavior learned from the environment. It places importance on reasoning, thinking, and understanding, as well as allows for children to create their own sense of self-efficacy and their own personal behavior standards. When children seek adult role models and copy behavior based on what they see, it stresses the importance of a positive example. Applying social learning theory to the classroom setting can positively help students reach a higher level of behavior. When students imitate the positive actions and behaviors of teachers, it becomes easier for those students to model the same behavior. This can help the students reach their academic and behavioral goals. According to Bandura's theory, students may also learn positive behavior from working in groups. For example, a less motivated student paired with a motivated student would help motivate the rest of the group through imitating the strong work ethic. There are 4 limitations to the social learning theory. 1. It offers a too narrow view of important environmental influences. Larger systemic environmental influences, such as socioeconomic status, extend beyond imitation to influence development. 2. It underestimates children's individual contribution to their own development, suggesting that children do not have an active role in their own learning. 3. The implementation of even the best behavioral management strategies can lead to difficulties if improperly applied. For example, implementing a reward system to improve a grade 6 classroom's behavior can go astray if the system is inconsistently implemented, incorrectly targets behavior, is superficial, or haphazardly. What works for one student may result in the opposite effect for another student. If a teacher does not believe in the behavioral management strategy implemented and does not communicate its reasoning to non-participants, the program is likely to fail.